What's up guys, it's me DanRob and welcome to the Big Changes Era Saturday livestream. I know it's a bit earlier this week, but I've got something else on tonight, which means I'm not going to be able to stream at the regular time, so I'm doing it now instead. So before I get into any of the songs, I want to explain a bit about what the Big Changes era was on the channel and why it happened. So in 2022, I think, it was the 5th of January 2022, I uploaded a video titled Big Changes, and what it was pretty much me saying that a lot was going to be different on the channel from that day. Mainly that I wasn't going to be using the DanRob's stage name anymore, and I was just going to be using my real name. And also there was the change that I wanted to put out more mature, more personal sounding music and content, rather than sticking to the same stuff that I'd done for I think 6 or 7 years at that point. So yeah, that was a big part of the reason. So before I get any further into it, I think we need to go to one of the songs from the era. And this song was inspired by NF. Some of you might know it, some of you might not. If you've heard it, you might recognise it. It's called I'll Be Here. Wrong song. There we go. By the way, if you have any questions about the Big Changes era or my music, my YouTube, anything, drop it in the chat. Sometimes I wonder if I could travel back in time to the days before I even wrote my first rhymes. The only reason would be so I could go find that kid that I used to be and warn him that he's gonna take some hits. I'll tell you first that life isn't gonna go easy on you. Tell your issues to the Lord. He's the one who's all ears when you feel like nobody else is hearing you. He's the only one that you can trust to be steering you right. They all think you're a joke at first till you hit the screens and prove it wrong. Loads of bursts of excitement and confidence all at once, but you see that will only last a few years, then insecurity builds up. You lose confidence in your own ability, scared to put out music of your own now. Lyrically, you start digging through your brain, they get more personal, debating if you want people to know about the hurt or the struggles you never thought you would face. Start taking over, you'll hide it well at first and people start to see through all the fake smiles you put on for the camera so no one found out. What would people think if they all found out? What would the reactions be if you told them about the fights that you've had with your mind and what's really going on in life? Eventually you'll find out that no one bats an eye and they were more interested in the old you when your star was rising. If you can hear me, I just want you to know I've been down the same road before. I felt the disappointment you felt, took the same route through hell and walked in still trying to open the door. If you can hear me, I just want you to know I've walked a similar path for years. I've been in your shoes. If you ever need someone to talk to, remember that I'll always be here. Over time you'll start to see just how two-faced people really can be. It'll put you in a bad place. You've got a good crowd of people and it seems to you like they'll never do you wrong. In time you start to see the truth. They're always there, but they don't stop the perceiving, the overthinking or the panicking about them leaving. They'll reassure you. Then when you start believing they're right, they'll turn their backs and drop you in the darkest hole without a light. You will know what hit you out of the blue. Bet you didn't see that one coming, did you? The painful thing is they probably don't even miss you. They told you if you were out the picture it would be blissful, and even though you miss them, they told you they just want to go their own way without you in their lives. Thinking about the old days when tensions never rose, it comes as no surprise all those friendships were fake bonds hiding the lies. There'll be times you wish you still had them people behind you. There'll be times you feel so lost and nobody could find you. There'll be times when you lose it, like your anger blinds you, pent up resentment. That's the devil trying to control your mind, dude. You're gonna feel like giving up and just letting him win, but you can't. Need I remind you, you're better than him. I know it's not gonna feel like it at first, cause your life's at its worst. You're feeling like you're being cursed, but no. If you can hear me, I just want you to know that I've been down the same road before. I felt the disappointment you felt, took the same route through hell and walked in still trying to open the door. If you can hear me, I just want you to know that I walked a similar path for years. I've been in your shoes. If you ever need someone to talk to, remember that I'll always be here. Remember the show that we planned 3 years ago? At age 16, hoping maybe the idea would go big. Spoiler alert, you find out the tickets don't sell. You wind up having to cancel the show and go through hell knowing that you let fans down. That's not all. I haven't even started on the running group who were appalled by your performance so much so that you felt the need to turn away when you think you're improving. They take it on themselves to lay it into you. You need to put more effort in. At the beginning, when you first join, you never in a million years think that they will turn on you so fast it'll leave you confused as to where you had to be a victim of the verbal abuse. To this day, we still wonder every now and then how our life went from being a 10 out of 10 to not even being on the scale. Oh yeah, wait, that's just reminded me, you also struggle with your weight. And the outcome of all the struggles you faced, all the times you've either failed or just been replaced, all the people who told you that you weren't good enough or proved that you were right to think that they would eventually up and leave you. But now I've got a question for you. Now that you know everything you're gonna go through, now that you know the story and what it did to me based on the song, the question is, what do you think of me now? Well, guys, I struggled to get through that one. I released it a couple of years ago. Well, not a couple of years ago. It was 2023. And it was called I'll Be Here. Hello, if you've just tuned in. Can I do a Central C song? Unfortunately, at this moment, I don't know the lyrics to any Central C songs. But if that's what you guys want, I will work on it for maybe next week or the week after. So, unfortunately, I can't do it this week. I'm sorry about that. But I will work on it. So, a bit more about the big changes era on the channel. So before that we had the Rising Star era, as I like to call it, which was pretty much a group of songs like, obviously, Rising Star, which was an original of mine. We had Falling to the Top, and of course the Tupac cover, Changes. We had the Lighters remix, and we also had Written in the Stars. Those were a good handful of songs from around that time. And then we had the Big Changes era, where I released that song you've just heard and a few others. So why did I change the name and change everything else? What initially led up to it? Well, actually, let me sit down and talk to you guys about this, because I'm probably going to be here for a long time. So, around New Year's Eve, yeah, it was New Year's Eve 2021, I wrote a song called First to Notice, which I will get to later on in the stream. And by the time I'd finished writing that song, I wanted to release it, but I felt like it was too personal, and I was worried about how people were going to react to it because of how personal and how vulnerable it was. So I felt like if I was going to release something like that, I needed to just ditch the stage name, ditch the old stuff, and go in a completely new direction on the channel. I thought I would have ended up singing instead of rapping from that day, but obviously not. And one night, yeah, it was the 5th of January, the same night the video went out. That night, I'd gone for a walk for whatever reason, and by the time I came back I thought, I'm gonna flip everything around, I'm gonna change everything about the channel. I wanted to get as far away from DanRob as possible, because I felt like he was the old me. He was connected to like some of the like cheesy, although the more popular ones I've written are a bit cheesy, like if you remember The Hat's the Wrong Way, You Top Dog, Rising Star. Although Rising Star's not really cheesy, it is genuinely a good song, or at least I think so. But yeah, I wanted to try and get away from that as much as possible. Also, I thought back then. And one of the reasons that I changed was because that was a point where I was starting to struggle on and off with my mental health every now and again. And one reason for that was because of a running group that I eventually was excluded from, because according to them I couldn't keep up with them and they just weren't giving me the right support. They said they were just going to leave me behind if I couldn't keep up. But that actually leads me to the next song. So this song was written about that running group, and I had an amazing feature on it, Sue Denim. You'll hear her vocals on the hook, so I don't think I need to say any more about it, apart from it's called Genuine. So give it a listen, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
You told me stop making excuses. I always do the best I can. I was the one who was genuine and gave all of me. I waited all hours for you. I was always looking out for you.
Here we go.
I was the one who was genuine.
I didn't want to run at first. I was always trying to search for an easy escape until you gave me the opportunity that could have saved me at the time. Started off on the right foot, then what felt like a right hook hit me. You built me up, then knocked me down. Since then I barely got off the ground. I don't want to hate, but you left me with nothing but the memory of when you sent me away. Pretty much told me that I was no good to you. I don't know why or how or when it all went sideways. Things used to be great with us, then I'd say you changed. You turned on me, reserved your most painful words for me. By the end it was clear to see that you didn't want me, you weren't hearing me. Just told me to stop making poor excuses. In that case I wonder were your excuses ever been such pricks? Thought you were decent and you told me to hang back and I would see different. You told me you don't do put downs. That was hardly encouragement, was it now?
You told me
Stop making excuses. I'm not the best singer, I do apologise. But I was the one who was genuine.
I gave all of me.
How long did I wait?
Waited all hours for you. I was always looking out for you. I was the one.
The pictures tell the truth. You're all still around. You told me it was over and threw me out. You said the whole thing was done. Then I see the rest of you together as one. as if I was never there in the first place. You forget that I was there on the first days, stood waiting for your car to show, and in the end you had the nerve to call me slow. You didn't want me, gave me the boot, went on to replace me with new recruits. If I'd have known how two-faced you could be, I'd have thought twice before signing up in December. I was there showing you the way. 1 year later you turned me away. I didn't know what to say, all I know was you caused most of my dark days.
You told me, stop making excuses. I always do the best I can.
I was the one who was what?
I was the one who was genuine and gave all of me.
I hope you're enjoying this, by the way, guys.
Waited all hours for you. I was always looking out for you. I was the one who was genuine.
I hope you were proud of yourself when you let me go and sent me through hell. Told me it wasn't just me, myself, but the group was done. I can smell the bullshit for miles, and I think you'll find your attempt to break me didn't work this time. Cause now you're so far behind me that I no longer hear your put downs or your lies.
You told me, stop making excuses. I always do the best I can.
Okay,
I was the one
I've got a bit of an idea.
that gave all of me.
I'm gonna jump on and sing this last chorus.
Waited all hours for you.
I might butcher it vocally,
I was
but
always looking out for
I'll see how I do.
I was the one who was genuine.
You told me, stop making excuses. I always do the best I can. I was the one who was genuine. I gave all of me. I waited all hours for you. I was always looking out for you. I was the one who was genuine. So there you go, guys. That was Genuine. I need to get a acoustic version of that out because me and Sue Denham, the person who I wrote and performed the song with, we do perform acoustic versions of it sometimes because she plays ukulele and obviously she knows the chords to the song. So maybe at some point, if you guys want to see it, we can get an acoustic version filmed. But for now, I don't think I really explained the running group story enough before the song, so I'm going to sit down and tell you a bit more about that. So, when I was maybe around 15, I started marshalling a park run at my high school. So the park run, it was pretty much just a 5k around the school grounds. And every Saturday I would marshal that. Pretty much, as you heard in the song, it was me standing there and showing them which ways to go. And then after about maybe a year of doing that, I started actually running with them because they ran a separate course on a different night. So I started running with them on that course. So it gave me a bit of experience in running with the group rather than just being stood in one place and showing them where they need to go. So I was actively running with the group for maybe about a year or so, until there was this one member of the group who every week without fail would tell me that I wasn't putting enough effort in and that I wasn't able to keep up compared to the other runners, when realistically, nobody was a professional runner in that group, nobody was better than anybody else in any way. And B, you ever heard the saying, it's a marathon, not a sprint? Time doesn't matter as long as you're out getting it done. That's what I've come to realise since then. But I was always told that by that one member of the group, that I wasn't putting the effort in compared to everybody else. And then it came to a point where the front runner of the group, the guy who organised everything, contacted me personally and told me that due to DBS, because I was the youngest member of the group at the time, everybody else were adults and I was only 16, maybe 17, I can't remember. But yeah, he told me that because of that reason I couldn't run with them anymore. And that left me thinking, I've been running with you for about a year up to now, so if child protection and DBS was going to be an issue, why has it not already come up before now? That was my sting at the time. And it left me thinking that, yes, okay, they can tell me that child protection was an issue, but they also kicked me out around the same time they were telling me I wasn't good enough for them. So surely my perception of what happened is understandable. I thought they were just getting rid of me because I was no good to them, because of being told that I wasn't putting the effort in. I thought that was the reason they wanted me out. And to this day I'm still not 100% sure, because I haven't spoken to any of them since. The group has since got a group of new runners, so quite recently I've returned to the group purely because of the fact that it is not the same people. It's completely different people and the atmosphere is so much better now. It took me 3 years to go back, but I needed that time to kind of come to terms with what had happened the first time. Yeah, that happened. Fair enough. It's out of the way now. I'm back on my feet, literally, back out running as part of the group, and I go on my own runs obviously as well. So yeah, it affected me at the time, but it's not getting me down long term anymore. So yeah, that was a bit of the story behind that. So I think I've waffled on for a bit too long now. I reckon it's time for another song. And this next song was released towards the end of the Big Changes era and around the first few months of the return of DanRob era, which was mid to late last year. It was the first song I released back under the stage name DanRob, and just give it a listen. It's called Conversation. Let me just set the song up and I'll be right back with you. Here we go. Where did my confidence go? I have to fake it now. I'll put it on just for show. It used to be outgoing, but that personality is now estranged in the last couple of years. I don't know what's changed. You could never shut me up, but these days the fear of what the people think cuts me up. Not knowing how my words will be heard and received is just one of the things I hate, so I guess it's easier to keep my mouth shut. Cause I don't know what to say. Every time I open my mouth it's like, right, okay, what you gonna think? I'll phrase it another way. Wish I knew how to explain my thoughts in a simple way, but it's okay, I'm lying. Of course it ain't, otherwise why would I be going back and forth in my brain every other day? Cause I don't know how you would react if I told you what's on my mind. I wish I could go back I wanna go back to the days when I knew what to say and I wasn't afraid to open my mouth and say it out loud and show the world just what I may do. I wanna go back to when I wasn't blinded by the frustration and the constant hiding and trying not to get involved. If conversations were like grudges, I'd be good at holding them. I wouldn't need to grow the balls before getting involved in them, and honestly, I'd have had too many to count. I'd be holding them every day. I can recount so many times that I should have opened my mouth, but the last thing I wanted was for you to hear me and start laughing. I often wonder what people would think if I spoke up, but when I get the chance to find out, no luck. Cause I don't know what to say. Every time I open my mouth it's like, right, okay, what you gonna think? Maybe I'll phrase it another way. Wish I knew how to always play my thoughts in a simple way, but it's okay. Why do I repeat myself? I'm running out of topics, so I do it just to keep myself from falling into that trap of awkward silence. I wanna go back, I wanna go back. I wanna go back to the days when I knew what to say and I wasn't afraid to open my mouth and say it out loud and tell the world just what I may do. I wanna go back to when I wasn't blinded by the frustration and the constant hiding and trying not to get involved in a conversation. So that was that one. That was Conversation, released in December 2023. I would perform Resurrection as well, but that was nowhere near this era. This was more into the Resurrection was more late in the Return of DanRob era and into the Reaction era. So I think we've just about come to the last song, and this is definitely one that I want to fill you guys in on before I perform it, because if you haven't heard it and you don't know the story behind it, then you're going to need to. So I mentioned this song earlier in the stream. First to notice, there's a hell of a story behind this song. I won't go through all of the story. All you guys really need to know about it is I wrote it based on a time when a long-time friend of mine, who at the time I had known for about 14 or 15 years, she started noticing that I was maybe looking a bit down and I wasn't really myself anymore, and she started asking how I was doing. She was starting asking if I was alright, because I didn't seem like myself. This went on for however long, and I always told her I was alright, as you do, but every time I told her that, I felt worse, because I knew the opportunity was there to get everything off my chest and finally tell her everything, but I didn't take that chance. I didn't take that opportunity when it was there. Until one night when she finally said to me, I know there's something going on. Do you want to just tell me what it is? And after that I just sat there and just told her everything, because, you know, I realised that she knows there's something going on now, so I can't dodge the conversation anymore. So yeah, I just told her everything, and I felt so much better for it in the moment, because when you've been holding that much in for so long and then you finally tell somebody, it's a hell of a weight off your shoulders. Because you ever heard the saying, when you share a problem, it's divided? Obviously it's halved between those two people, in the sense that there is finally somebody else in the world who knows about what you're going through. and who you can go to speak to about it or to ask for help if needed. And that was, at the time, a hell of a weight off my shoulders. And that was the entire reason behind this last song. So yeah, give it a listen. It's called First to Notice, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I enjoyed it when I released it. You were the first to ask me, was I okay? The first to tell me you knew I'd changed. You were the first one who could see my pain showing. The first to say you knew I wasn't the same. For a while I told you I was fine, put on a smile to hide the living hell we both knew I was going through, until the night when you said, tell me what's going on. I know you're hiding something deep inside. Is something wrong? I can tell you're not the same. I thought about that day, and you probably don't know this, but I realized you were the first to notice. You were the first to get me to talk about the things that kept on my mind for too long. I finally told you all I'd thought about. I finally told you what went wrong. For a while I didn't say a word, found it hard to explain the living hell we both knew I was going through, until the night when you said, tell me what's going on. I know you're hiding something deep inside. Is something wrong? I can tell you're not the same. I thought about that day, and you probably don't know this, but I realized you were the first to notice. The first to notice when I sat there on my own, back when I didn't know if I should stay or go. I'm here to talk, that's what you told me weeks before. The day I finally let you in, I finally opened up the door. Now you know what's going on. I know you're hiding something deep inside. Is something wrong? I can tell you're not the same. I thought about that day, and you probably don't know this, but I realized you were the first to notice. What's going on? I know you're hiding something deep inside. Is something wrong? I can tell you're not the same. I thought about that day, and you probably don't know this, but I realized you were the first to notice. And that was First to Notice, the last song of this afternoon's stream. First to Notice was actually the first song I released under my real name after dropping the DanRob name. And then it was Genuine, and then I'll Be Here about a year after, and then about a month after I'll Be Here was released, I realised the DanRob name can't hide as much as I thought it could. It's not what I thought it was that was stopping me from getting more personal, mature music out. So I realised I shouldn't have dropped it, and I realised that if anybody was going to remember the channel, they were going to remember it by one name and one name only: DanRob. So from then on, he's back. And that was that. That was the Big Changes era, crammed into just over half an hour. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully back to the regular time next week. But until then, like, subscribe, and I will catch up with you guys next time. Laters, potatoes.